Sorry, not the only manager under the microscope. There's Ernesto Valverde's future to consider. Well, his president has given him the dreaded vote of confidence. He's the coach we want, says Bartomeu. He is under contract, and we are very happy with him. We joke about the dreaded vote of confidence, Ali. Is that what this is?
Yes. And I do think that when you evaluate Valverde and you see that he's won the league and you see the positive things that have happened with Barcelona under Valverde, but you also have to evaluate that on back-to-back years in Champions League, his team, the one that he puts out there and the one that he should be ready to play by him, goes out and they do what they do in the second legs against Roma last year and, of course, against Liverpool this year. To me, there are three moments in which managers can truly affect a game. Of course, there are the substitutions that you make as a manager. That's going to affect a game. At the beginning of the game, prior to jumping out on the field, you can affect the game. And then at halftime, you can affect the game. If you evaluate Barcelona against Liverpool in this second leg that we just saw a couple of weeks ago, not ready to play coming out of the locker room, you can put that on players, but you can also put that on the manager. And then going into halftime with a chance to make adjustments, you do exactly the same thing that was getting you killed in the first half. You go ahead and continue to do that in the second half, expecting a different outcome. Of course, that did not happen. And then 10 minutes into that second half, they're down 3-0, and everything is out of their hands. Now they're chasing it. To me, that in itself, that alone, should be looked upon by Bartomeu and by Barcelona as a fireball offense because it happened on back-to-back years.
But he's the coach they want, the president says.
Well, right. And if you continue on the quote, he also says, well, we're still trying to recover from our European disappointment. See, the league, as important as it is for Barcelona, when this happens on back-to-back years, that's when it becomes something that I don't know how Valverde actually sustains this.
Two pretty good years domestically, but two awful games to go out in the Champions League.
I couldn't agree more with Ali. I was on, the show the night before, and I said the one way that Barcelona can lose the game is if they try and play out from the back, they play into midfield sloppily, Liverpool press the ball, get the crowd going if they get it back quickly. They've got to go that little bit longer. They've got to bypass the pressure. They didn't do that. They played into the hands of Liverpool. As Ali said, they didn't change at half-time. And you could sense, after about 15, 20 minutes, that Barcelona was struggling in the game. And as a coach, you can even do it 20 minutes into the first half. Stick it longer, stick it in behind the opposition. Let's turn them round. Let's change the tactics. He didn't do that. And you could tell at the start of the second half they were going to lose that time.
Robert, we've played in teams where things have not been going well. Surely the players recognise that. These are top players. Surely the players recognise.
But there was a bit of arrogance about the Barcelona players. We can keep the ball.
But the thing is, when you're 20 minutes into that game and you know you're getting run over, you've got to pick it up. You know yourself. You've got to do something. You don't need the gaffer to say at half-time, "Hey boys, we're not at the races." I mean, look. Yes, he can influence. He's got to drive it into them. But sure, the players that we're talking about, surely they can turn that around or try to turn it around.
But Messi wanted to come back and get the ball. Coutinho wanted to come back and get the ball. Suarez was the only player that was trying to run in behind, and quite often he was coming back for the ball. So you're playing the game in your own half, and as soon as Liverpool won it back, that's what they do. They counter-attack quickly, they play at high tempo, and they had to play that little bit longer and bypass the pressure. They didn't do it.
I can't tell you how important to me it is the fact that this happened on back-to-back years.
Right.
And in very similar circumstances.
Same circumstance, yeah.
Very similar circumstances. And that is when you have to look at Valverde and you have to look at the team and say, wait a minute. Is this as good as is it going to get for us with this manager, or can we improve upon this? And Barcelona is the only club that can answer that question.
Something tells me we're going to be talking about this a lot, Paul, just to cut you off. Moving forward over the next few days on tomorrow's show. For starters, I'm sure it will crop up. Next edition of the show, Stevie Nicol and Craig Burley will be here.
Look, it's a fantastic strike. Don't get me wrong.
Did you pick some of the goals that you felt as though you couldn't achieve?
Well, then the top 10.
No, not at all. No, I stand by the top 10. I think it's absolutely nailed on.
Okay. You shouldn't even sit by the top.
All I would say is that you were downstairs, you just threw them up in the air and went, oh, that'll do, yeah.
That's not true, Robert. That's not true.
It is FA Cup final weekend. To get yourself in the mood, tune into our FA Cup podcast. Frank Leboeuf and Craig Burley talking to Dan Thomas. The Corriere dello Sport in Italy leading with an interesting headline. Countdown to Conte. Antonio Conte could be the man to replace Luciano Spalletti at Inter, apparently. Gab, let's bring you in on this. Rate the likelihood of this actually transpiring for us.
Well, it's funny because Antonio Conte has gone out there and he's been on a total media offensive. And in that process of that, it's been everything from like some crazy return to Juventus, to Roma, to Milan, to Inter that seems to be the strongest. I don't know. I can only tell you Inter right now aren't saying anything, which, good for them. It makes sense they wouldn't be saying anything because, of course, Luciano Spalletti still has to get them into the top four. Somebody's doing the talking. It seems to me like such a wrong move for Inter, frankly. But hey, you want Conte back? You want to hire this guy? Go ahead, do it. Enjoy.
Stuart, what's your
Gab doesn't like him.
Do you like Conte?
Yeah, Antonio Conte changed Juventus. They won 3 titles on the trot. He then goes to the Italian national team with poor players and does very well in the European Championship. Does better than anybody could have expected. He then goes to Chelsea after they'd come 10th in the league, wins the title, the Premier League with them, and should have won the double. The next year things go wrong and he's been out of a job since. But for 5 seasons, he's been absolutely magnificent and one of the best coaches in Europe or the world.
Also rumoured, Gab, along with Antonio Conte, Romelu Lukaku. He's apparently going to be the man...
Lukaku?
I was waiting for Ali, thank you. He's apparently going to be the man that Conte wants to lead the line for Inter if it all happens.
Ooh. Yeah, because look, he's a big striker at a big club and he's famous and he costs a lot of money, so he must be good. Listen, Stuart, just to be clear, I think Conte is an exceptional coach.
So why don't you want him to go to Inter then?
Because Inter are not in a position where this guy goes there and he starts making demands. He wants to buy him and he wants to buy him and he wants to buy him and he doesn't want this young player because he likes brand names. Let's not forget why he left Juventus in the first place. Let's not forget why he left Chelsea.
He changed the way Chelsea played. He went from 10th to top of the league. That's a good manager. No matter what his demands are, that's good management. Bring Ancelotti back. That's the person you like, isn't it? Get Ancelotti to go everywhere.
I want somebody who fits the club. I want somebody who fits the club at the moment in time. Inter, given the kind of club they are, they can't handle somebody like Conte. In the same way, they can't handle somebody who sends text messages to his players because he thinks he's the big boss and say, "Hey, Diego Costa, you don't need to come back next year." You can't handle somebody
so he's a bad manager because he's done that.
Every time they get knocked out of a competition, like he did at Juve, he starts complaining, the club needs to spend more money. I can't eat at a €100 restaurant when I only have €10 in my pocket. Look, that's his personality. That's fine. Good for him. He's a phenomenal coach, and he showed he can be a great coach with bad players, as in the Euros. But Inter are really asking for it if they bring this guy in. No, they've already brought in Diego Godin to freshen up the side at the back. This is not a good move by any stretch. It's
keeping Spalletti would be a good move, would it?
Gamble.
Would keeping Spalletti be a good move?
No, that wouldn't be a good move either, no.
Ali, Antonio Conte aroused such passion in you? Or...
I thought we were talking about Lukaku.
Lukaku is just a sideshow,
What
apparently.
happened to Lukaku?
He's just you can bring him into the picture too.
No, I don't want any part of Lukaku, nor should Inter for that matter. But in any case, look, I don't think there's any arguing here that Antonio Conte is a more than capable manager that could take over Inter and make them a better team. I'm not quite sure as to what the plan for the future or the immediate present is for Inter, and I don't think they do either. And I think that's the key there, is that they, as an organization, they have to have a plan in place that makes sense. And if that plan in place includes a vision like Antonio Conte's, then you go after him. But until you have a plan in which you actually can recognize the manager that is going to take you forward, and a manager that can handle all the circus that Inter has become, then whatever decision you make after that certainly has to make sense according to that manager. They have to be able, Inter as an organization to identify what they want to do, long-term, short-term, and make sure that the hire that they put together makes all the sense in the world.
I think we need to get Stuart a guest appearance on the Serie A.